Hey guys, my name's John, and my app is looking at physical therapy locations for physical therapy companies looking to expand or individual therapists looking to open their own clinic. One of the reasons why this app is important is because I believe it's important to have access to healthcare for everyone, especially here in the state of Wisconsin. One of the things that physical therapists do is use exercise as a form of physical therapists use exercise as a form of medicine, and being able to increase access to physical therapists can help reduce fall risks. And as you guys can see, Wisconsin is currently the worst state in the country when it comes to death rate per 100,000 people by falls, meaning that people over the age of 65, when they fall, more often than not, more than anywhere else in the country in Wisconsin, they're dying because of it. And physical therapists can help reduce that and bring that rate more in line with the rest of the country. So when I was creating my app here, I used a multitude of data sets. My primary data set was emergency medical service or EMS data from the Milwaukee Open Data Portal. I was able to combine that with US Census data to get things like income and population data for each of the zip codes in and around Milwaukee County. I used Google Maps and Google API, as I'll talk about a little bit later, to get locations data for physical therapy clinics and hospitals all across Milwaukee County. And I was able to use the LoopNet to get commercial real estate data for finding potential locations of where we can open up physical therapy locations across the county here. I combined data from these sources to build my map function, as well as the data for potential therapists to look at. And I used this to sort of draw conclusions related to physical therapy. One of those being the more EMS calls in a certain zip code, the more potential patients in an area, which might entice a therapist to open up a patient in that zip code. So when we're looking through my app mockup, the first thing I wanted to do was start with a tab bar up top rather than have everything out on one page, just to help declutter the front-facing app, as well as give the potential user some options when clicking through. So the three tabs that I have on my bar are a survey tab to collect information from our user, which will help form will help to filter the map down later down the line. I have a data tab, which will help me display data and graphs which the therapist could potentially find useful to help inform decisions on what they value and where they might like to open their clinic. And lastly, I have my map tab, which is supposed to be sort of the main functionality of my app. Here you'll be able to see different locations of potential locations of commercial real estate, as well as other clinics and hospitals. So my survey tab would look something like this, where I would ask a potential user what target population, so something like an age range that they would like to work with, and from there I could look at things like the average age of a certain zip code and what might line up. Because if you're looking to work with children, you might not want to set up your clinic in a location where the majority of the population is 65 plus. I have options for price range and building size, which are more on the commercial real estate size, as well as when I drew this up, I had question marks, going through the empathy process to leave any other suggestions up to my users there. Next, I have my data tab, which would look something like this. In this case, I have stacked bar charts to look at EMS calls versus zip codes, as well as zip code versus versus population size, because if the idea being that you may want to work in a zip code with a larger population just for that increase in potential users. And my third tab being my map tab, I'm using the leaflet plugin to create a map and drop pins on on hospital locations around Milwaukee County, as well as other clinics. You don't want to try to open up a clinic where there's already 3 on every corner. And then there will be more added to this functionality based on where potential real estate could be, as well as adding some of the filters from our survey, so target population and price range, to help filter down what real estate pops up on the map. Like I said before, some of the features I included in this map, or in my app, are leaflet mapping. So here is a screen grab from my app in its current form. Right now, I have the ability to filter by hospitals, clinics, and locations for sale. As I'm working right now, there are still being potential for sale locations added to the map. To get a bunch of this information, I went through the process of using the Google API, which was really cool to figure out. It's nice that there is a $200 sort of free trial version of Google API. So at this point, I haven't had to spend any of my own money. But for future expansion of the app, it may be nice to get a company backing to be able to keep continually refreshing the app and not have to worry about a budget. And lastly, one of the features that I'll be adding is a www directory. This file will sit in the same folder with my one file app right now, and what that will allow me to do is add icons to each of these pins and customize the map further. Some questions I have for you guys are on the graphs. I've spent a couple weeks now trying to figure out how to add click functionality to each of the graphs. So what I mean by that is if I click on one of the bar charts to my graph, trying to get it to update a tab that might say, oh, here's the zip code that you're in, or change which bar is being highlighted. I haven't quite been able to figure out how to add click functionality to any of my graphs, similar to like we were able to on Tableau, as well as leaflet shading. Right now, I have outlines around each of the zip codes, and being able to sort of filter, shade those in as a gradient to be able to display things like population density. I haven't quite figured out how to add that population or how to add that functionality. So if anyone is able to figure that out with leaflet mapping or click functionality on ggplot graphs, that would be a big help. And thank you guys so much. Lastly, I just have a couple sources for my first slide. So thank you guys so much, and have a nice rest of your night.